comparison is the thief of joy. And when you sit there on social media scrolling all day, it's not going to help you any when all you do is compare and contrast. Social media builds a lot of disconnection in the world. And that's something I love doing with clothes because it brings those people together. The conversation pieces, like, oh my gosh, these people have the same taste as me. They think the same ideas that I do. Whatever it might be. The idea of bringing people together through clothes has always been the vision. I think it's forever going to be the vision on that. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? I'm Nick Scacchetti, and I'm a clothing designer who makes faith-based hoodies from woven tapestry. And yeah, pretty simplistic start. How'd your brand come to be? Where did it start versus where is it today? My brand started when I was 16. It started as Wave Projects. It was a mental health clothing brand, and it started with wanting to make people feel relative through clothing. I listened to a lot of music that was like kind of relative to how I was feeling in like a bad time, in a dark time. And it led into the idea of how can I make people feel not alone through something that wasn't music? Because I feel like music is just the number one source for things. And it led into this state of like creativity where I was like, how can I do this in another form? And it came to clothes. So I began making clothes to find a way to make people feel not alone through clothing. I got to a point where I couldn't create because I became my depression became my fuel, and with that, I became to a point where I literally couldn't create for over a year. And eventually I led back into the woven hoodies, which is something I always wanted to do. And it started to keep the meaning of like how can I make people feel like they belong with something or can relate to people or whatever it may be. It started with like movies and music and like making pieces that people want to like call out, and they're like it started with like Sopranos or something, and people would come to you at say like a bar or a public event, or they'd be like, "Oh my god, you like Sopranos? Like I love Sopranos. Like that's my thing." It brings people together. And now I'm in a place where it's faith based, and like someone may see a Jesus hoodie in public and be like, "Oh my god, are you Christian?" Or like they'll see one of my other pieces that are more Catholic related and be like, "Oh my gosh, are you Catholic? Like, I'm also Catholic. Like, we could talk about this. Like, could we have a drink together? Like, could we get coffee together?" Something that like brings people together through clothing is still the mission. And I think I'm doing it now better than ever with these just because they stick out so much. And yeah, so it's kind of grown into this really beautiful thing that brings people together through clothing. And my mission from when I was 16 is now here at 26. I think it's definitely worked well. My long-term vision always kind of been like being the best, kind of just being the best in the world to bring people together through clothes. Because you can't, I don't think you could bring people together through clothes in the right ways when you bring on materialism, when you bring on your Louis Vuittons or like your Dior's or whatever. Like you aren't getting that same feeling of like, man, like I'm with the creator of this. Like I'm here with the person who made this. Like I know the detail put into it. I know the work put into it. I know the feeling I get when I wear these hoodies. And the idea of bringing people together through clothes has always been the vision. I think it's forever going to be the vision on that. What do you love most about what you do? What do I love most about what I do? I bring people together. I get people to connect with each other in ways that, like, I guess breaks the mold of clothing where, most people don't want to like come compliment you on pieces or like clothes or outfits in public. And I've kind of created some that like stands out so much that like people feel welcome to be like, "Oh my god, where's your hoodie from?" Or like, "Where's this from? Where can I get one? Oh my god, I love that," like whatever it may be on the hoodie. Like they're like, "Oh my god, like I just love this," and like the feeling that I get when I know that I'm bringing people together, I'm doing things with clothes is the coolest thing. This is actually the perfect lineup to the DM.
Perfect.
So, what do I love most about what I do with bringing people together? I guess the feeling of love that people get when they wear it. It would be something. This person DM'd me and said, my son is just really upset over the passing of his big brother. His big brother had a lot of your hoodies and he wore them all the time, and one of your hoodies he had on when he committed suicide. I know my daughter had reached out to you because that was her husband. She wanted you to know just how special your hoodies meant to him. He wore them almost every day, and she knew he was at peace when she came home from work and found him passed away in your hoodie. Yeah, that stuff is like the stuff that I see and I hear, and I'm just like, wow, like I did it. Like my 16-year-old self looks at that and he's just proud, because it's like I've had a couple messages where it's like, hey, like my partner or, whatever relative loved your piece so much. Like my memories of him or her were in your pieces. Can you do this one for me? Like that's so heavy to like know I have that power now with a piece of cloth, like this piece of this blanket and silk that just gets cut and sewn means so much to so many people and makes so many people feel like they're like belonging to something powerful. Uh yeah, that's like the heaviest thing I think that I could say is the thing I love the most about what I do. Beyond the clothing, what is my deeper mission? I've always wanted to find a way to save lives with clothing. Now, how to do it, yet to be figured out. I think I just have to keep doing what I'm doing and going from there because I know so many people that have been able to say they listen to certain forms of music or certain artists, and when they listen to them, they're just, I don't know, you feel the music, you feel every single piece of it. And there's so many people that may relate to lyrics and all these different meaningful things through music that they're like, wow, that saved my life. Like someone relates to me, someone gets it. And uh yeah, that would be the mission is like as much as it is making people feel not alone through clothing, I'd like to find a way to save lives with clothing. I think that would be a really powerful thing to be able to do. All right, when you were younger, you kept a lot of emotions bottled up. What was going on in that time of your life? How have you changed since? Yeah, when I was 15, 16, it was my deeper understanding of how like depression, anxiety worked, and it was kind of like hitting me all at once. There was a lot going on with like just like uh friend stuff, family stuff, mindset, almost like it was almost like a craving for pity. I don't know what to call it. It was just there was just I don't know. There was just a lot of things reflecting on myself, like loss and life and not knowing where to go in life. And like you get to that point where you're like, man, I have to have a deeper purpose in life, and it hits you really hard and you don't know what to do. I didn't really fit in my school system much. There wasn't really too much there supporting me. Yeah, I don't know. I just always was good at bottling stuff up and like holding it back, and I think I still am. It's something I still struggle with. But, I've now got to a point where I think God's helped me a lot in that range of, surrounding me with the people that let me know I'm cared about and let me know like I have a safe place to be. And I've been blessed with, healthy family and friends and love life, and like all my relationships are very loving and caring and deep, and now I've been a little better at expressing those things. And I think back when I was like 15, 16, 17, I just didn't have those resources at the time, and that led me down a little bit of a spiral, because like the only thing I really had was like my brothers, and everyone was kind of figuring stuff out and doing their thing, and I was figuring my stuff out, but I was really good at bottling it. And that kind of made for bigger issues for myself. How have I changed since that? Um, yeah, like I said, just like the building better relationships within myself and others and understanding like how much care gets put into these relationships, how much effort gets put into the relationships, how much love gets put into the relationships, and like building with people was huge. And yeah, I think the thing that helped me the most was building healthier relationships within my life and realizing I can't do it alone. I think the hard-headedness of trying to do everything alone was the biggest part of it all. You said clothes can be a conversation starter. Do you think we're living in a disconnected world? Is community important to you? Um, yes. I do think we're really disconnected in a lot of ways. Um, I think we're in like the social media age and we're in like the big start of it, you know, we're in the generation that's starting social media, but there's so many people on the internet that just love showing face, you know? There's a lot of people who love showing face. Like it's like, "Hey, look at my watch, look at my car, look at my whatever." You know, there's some people even in like the religious world that I think is like I don't know. It almost seems like they want to pin people down for not having as strong as a belief in religion as them, or like they need to like flaunt religion. And like I've always grown up that it's private, you know, like religion's always been like a fairly private thing. Like when you go to church, you keep it in private. And now we're in an age where social media exists and people need to post a 4K picture of them in church. And I think that really disconnects people because they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm not as strongly believing as this person," like, you know, and like that could really disconnect you from God when you sit there and you don't understand every single individual has their own relationship with God. And every person has their own relationship with themselves, and like the way they portray things on social media is the way they think they need to connect with the world, but it's just not, you know, and that sucks. I think that really sucks because I think it messes a lot of people up when you look up to someone and they're doing certain things, you try to, you know, compare and contrast with that person. And, you know, like they say, like comparison is the thief of joy. And when you sit there on social media scrolling all day, it's not going to help you any when all you do is compare and contrast. And I think that builds a lot, social media builds a lot of disconnection in the world. And that's something that I love doing with clothes because it brings those people together. The conversation pieces, the idea of like coming up to someone, just complimenting them. Like I know how much it meant when I came to like a new school system. I didn't know anybody, and like just getting a compliment for like my shoes, you know, because we didn't have a crazy amount. Like we had like a certain budget. It was like, hey, you could get like two pairs of pants, three shirts, a pair of shoes, and that's your fits for the year, you know, for the school year as a kid. So I had to be super picky on that. And whenever I knew I got those compliments, how much they meant to me. And like that's something that really drives from like my childhood into what I do now, where knowing how much meaning goes into the like just a compliment, how much it could change someone's day, and how much it could even change like a week. Even like if someone's like, man, like I got a lot of compliments on this, I'm gonna wear this all the time, it just makes me feel good when I wear it. Like it's this thing to me, like this piece in my closet, like never been more complimented on, like whatever it may be, I've never been more called out for something. That feeling of like, you know, like, "Oh my gosh, these people have the same taste as me. They think the same ideas that I do. They" whatever it might be. I think that's the best way to build connection. Like, when you're building it through that, or, like, just something really meaningful, that's, like, probably the number one way to do it. Is community important to you? Extremely. Extremely, yeah. Because I think when you start building out your community, and you start sharing your why as to why you do things, because so many companies or whatever brands or anything are so good at just like building out like their what's and their hows and like this is what we do and this is how we do and here's some behind the scenes, but they don't tell you why they do it. And when you sit there and you look at a piece of, if you look at a hoodie with Christ on it, you're gonna know what it means. You're gonna understand why someone wears it. You're gonna understand why that person wears the Michael Jordan hoodie, or like you're gonna understand why someone wants to wear an art hoodie. Like, hey, like I grew up with my mother as like not me, but just for example, like I grew up with my mother as an art teacher, and like this guy made a Monet hoodie out of this, and this is his own form of that artwork and this is what it means to me, and then it brings people like a bunch of artists together. It could be whatever it wants to be, but that's the way of building communities, like people understanding your why and why you do things. And I think the idea of community is more about your why than it is anything of your what, if that makes sense. That's a good one. That's a good one. um If your younger self was here with us right now, what would you say to him? I'd probably just remind him everything's gonna be good. Realistically, yeah. It's like, yeah. If my younger self was here right now, I would just give him the reminder everything's gonna be good, everything's gonna work out. Um, 'Cause there was a lot of moments throughout my young self that was like really confused and really lost and like didn't know what was going on. Like we lost my mom when I was younger, and like that sent everything kind of into like some spirals where everyone around me was, they were like, man, like make sure the kids are good, make sure me and my brothers are good. Like everyone in the family and friends and school system at the time, they just did the best they could. And everyone was trying to figure out their own things the best way they could. And yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of loss in my early life, and it led to a lot of confusion, a lot of not knowing if things are going to be good, a lot of not knowing if life was going to be all right when I grow up. If it was like this feeling of like, is it going to be this way forever? Was like the hardest feeling to get past. Yeah, it was just the hardest thing to get past because like I didn't know if I was gonna be stuck in this mind state forever. When I was like 15, 16, 17, like I was like, dude, like I don't know how I'm gonna beat this. Like no matter how hard I try, like I did, we did like the medications, I did prayer, I did meditation, I like disconnected from God for a minute. Um and just trying to find more of like a spiritual balance within myself, and I thought disconnecting from God was the way. And it was actually the most like self-sabotaging thing I think I could have done. Yeah, there's a lot of things I think I'd tell them. Like number one would definitely be like things are gonna be all right, because there's too many questions on if it wasn't. If your future self was here, what would he tell you to stop holding back? I don't know. I don't know. I think my current self has became fairly. I've learned a lot about my self love. I've learned a lot about where to be. I think he would tell me to stop holding back. Probably the fear of putting myself out there. Yeah, because I'm working on like this is like a big step in me getting my face out there and getting my personality out there. And something I really want to do. I just have to figure out exactly how. And I think there's a fear of judgment, there's a fear of messing up on camera, there's so many things of like getting behind the camera and putting yourself out there like hundreds of thousands if not millions of people, like if you're running, like say I'm running ads, like I get fears of that where it's like me doing an outfit video and I'm like, dude, like I'm scared to put this out because I know there's going to be a million random faces seeing it. And like sometimes the feedback's amazing, and then there's sometimes where like there's some haters in the comments and they're just like they have to comment something. They just have to like talk some sort of smack about something. I'm just like, man. Yeah, like sometimes I think I just gotta get over the fear of putting myself out there would be something my future self would tell me. What is the biggest lesson life is teaching you right now? I think the biggest lesson life's teaching me right now is that I guess I'm worthy of good things. I think that's the big character development I've been having. I'm really trying my best to connect with more of my current and future self, where like my younger self during my darker days, like I used to connect a lot with materialism things, and like they used to make me feel better because I thought I was better, and like I just put on whatever it may be, and it's just not that. Now that I got closer with God in my own way, I kind of learned about you can't serve both money and God. And I think that's in Luke, but you can't serve both money and God. And I think the biggest lesson of that is literally just that statement alone. Like you can't sit there and flaunt all these material things and try to make yourself feel better through items and like putting pictures up on social media and just stuff like that. You can't do it and then sit there and be like, I have such a good relationship with God because it seems like you serve more money than God. And if you're sitting there showing off your whatever high end car, watch, lifestyle, whatever it may be, over, your loved ones, your family, your meaning, your purpose, your mission, your thing, the thing that you love the most. If you're sitting here on this end and you're serving money, you're not going to be able to connect with God the same way that you are when you're sitting there with your friends and your family and your loved ones and you're like, this is where I need to be. Like I need to be here with my people and I just need to be the most loving version of myself with other people also. Like I think that's the bigger lesson right now. Yeah. What am I learning to love about myself? I think I'm really learning to love being more authentic and how I feel about things. I think being myself and being my fullest person is really big. Like I had a call last night and my friend was telling me, she was like, dude, like when you go into this interview, be authentic. Like just be you. Like you're chilling. Like you don't have to worry about things. Like people are gonna love you for you, and like that's something you got to get past. Because if people don't, it doesn't matter. There's millions of other people that are gonna love you. Like you do what you do, and look what you've already built. You only have more to go. Be authentic. Be yourself, and that's gonna be the thing that like is the most loved part about you. And I think that's something that is definitely where I'm learning to love about myself is just being my fullest self. How has it felt to be seen in this way today? I definitely think it's a little nerve wracking, but it's like a fear I need to hurdle over, where it's like the idea of, just hurdling over things, grass is greener on the other side. And like once you get to that grass, like it's just going to be so much better. Biggest takeaway, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Yeah. Any final thoughts? Final thoughts would be like love yourself a little more. Yeah, it sounds a little cliche, a little, I don't know, it just sounds a little cliche, but yeah, like I think that's the best way you're gonna grow is understand your why, being yourself, put yourself out there. This is my thing of putting myself out there. This is what it means, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Yeah.